Hello everyone, if you are studying IGCSE Computer Science 0478 Paper 1, this video series will help you revise each topic more easily. We'll go through chapters 1 to 6, practice questions like those from the past papers. This will help you understand the types of questions you will see in the exam and how to answer them. These videos are designed to support your learning, build your confidence, and help you to get best grades you can. So let's get started and make your revision count. In this session, we'll be reviewing past paper questions on key topics such as high-level languages, low-level languages, translators, and IDE. So let's get started. Topic 28. Types of programming languages. High-level languages. Question 300. Define the term high-level language. A high-level language is a programming language that is easier for humans to understand. It uses instructions similar to the natural language like English. It needs the translator to be understood by a computer, and it is machine independent. Question 301. Leo is developing a computer program. Give 2 reasons why Leo should use a high-level language to write this program. Number 1, easier to understand. Number 2, easier to debug. Number 3, code is portable. Number 4, requires less code to perform a task. And last one, easier to learn. Question 302. A program can be written using high-level language. State 2 examples of high-level languages. Number 1, Python, Java, C#, Visual Basic. Question 303. Translators are used to translate the high-level language so that it can be processed by a computer. State what the high-level language is translated into. So it is translated into object code, machine code, or you can also say low-level language. Low-level languages. Question 305. Define the term low-level language. A low-level language is a programming language that is close to machine code and directly controls the computer hardware. It includes machine code and assembly language. Question 306. A program can be written using a low-level language. State 2 examples of low-level languages. Number 1, assembly language. Number 2, machine code. Question 307. Leo is developing a computer program. State 5 reasons why Leo should use a low-level language to write this program. Number 1, low-level programs run quickly because they are close to machine code. Number 2, allow direct access to memory, CPU, and other hardware components. Number 3, can optimize performance and reduce memory usage. Number 4, ideal for programming devices with limited resources, for example, microcontrollers. And number 5, no need for a compiler or interpreter. Question 308. A programmer has designed a 3D interactive computer game. They are going to develop a program for the game. The program needs to run efficiently, but it must also be developed as soon as possible. Identify whether the programmer should use a high-level language or a low-level language to develop the program. Okay, so now let's discuss the pros and cons of using high-level or the low-level language for developing this 3D game. So if the programmer is using a high-level language, easier for programmer to read, write, and understand the code. The programmer can find and correct errors in less time. Game will be machine independent. Programmer can focus on problem instead of manipulation of memory or hardware. Low-level language. Commands are hard to read, but they execute very quickly. It's more memory efficient. It allows direct manipulation of memory and allow for use of specialized hardware. Question 309. Cameroon is designing a software for a new line of automated coffee machine that requires precise control over hardware functions and memory usage. Give 2 reasons why Cameroon might choose to write the software in assembly language. Number 1, smaller file size. Number 2, more efficient use of memory. Number 3, he can directly access the hardware. Number 4, there is no need for the program to be portable. Number 5, he can use special machine-dependent instructions. Question 310. State what is meant by mnemonics in assembly language. It's a short, easy to remember code used to represent a machine level instruction. For example, LDA for load accumulator or ADD for add. Question 311. State why assembly language uses mnemonics. Number 1, it makes machine level instruction easier for human to read and write. Number 2, simplifies the coding by using meaningful abbreviations instead of binary code. Question 312. A software development company is considering using assembly language for a performance-critical section of their new operating system. Give 2 drawbacks of using assembly language to write program for this purpose. Number 1, programs are not portable. Number 2, it's complex to learn. Number 3, difficult to debug. Topic 29. Translators. Compilers. Question 315. State what is meant by a compiler. A software that translates high-level language program into machine code. Translate the entire program before execution. Question 316. Describe how the compiler reports errors. The compiler analyzes the entire source code for errors. If an error is found, the compiler reports the line number where the error occurred. The compiler also provides a description of the error type, for example, syntax error or type error. The compiler stops the compilation process after encountering an error. Question 317. State two types of errors that a compiler can detect. So number one is called syntax error and number two is called the type error. Question 318. One translator creates an error report displaying all the errors in the code before it can be executed. Identify which type of translator would do this. It's compiler. Question 319. The programmer uses a compiler to translate the computer program. Describe how the compiler translates the computer program. Number one, it translates the high-level language into low-level language. Number two, it translates all the code at once before the program runs. Number three, it creates an executable file that can be run independently. Question 320. A compiler is required every time a compiled program is run. So that is false. Interpreters. State what is meant by an interpreter. It's a software that translates and runs a high-level language program line by line, and it does not produce a separate executable file. Question 323. One translator converts and executes the code line by line. Identify which type of translator would do this. So that is interpreter. Question 324. Explain two disadvantages of using interpreter instead of a compiler. Number one, program runs slower because translation happening during execution. Number two, source code must be present every time the program is run. Question 325. Describe how an interpreter works. Number one, it translates one line of source code at a time into machine code. Executes each line immediately after translating. Number three, repeats this process until the program ends or an error occurs. Question 326. State one situation where using an interpreter is more suitable than a compiler when testing or debugging code during development. Question 327. Explain one difference between a compiler and an interpreter. A compiler translates the whole program at once. An interpreter translates and runs one line at a time. A compiled program runs faster after translation. Interpreted programs run slower as each line is translated during execution. Question 328. An interpreter can run a program even if it contains a syntax error at the end. That's true because error is at the end. Question 329. The paragraph provides information about translators. Complete the paragraph using the most appropriate term. A compiler and an interpreter translate dash into machine code, translate high-level language into machine code. An interpreter does this by translating and executing the code line by line, and a compiler does this by translating and executing the code all at once. One benefit of compiler is that it creates an executable file, which means that a translator is not required each time to run the file. Debugging is easier to do with an interpreter because it stops translating and reports an error at the place where it occurs in the code. Question 330. If the programmer chooses a high-level language, they can use a compiler or an interpreter to translate the high-level language into low-level language. Describe the operation of a compiler and an interpreter. So let's see how the compiler works. So first of all, compiler. So compiler checks all code before executing any code. Number two, produces an error report with all errors found for the whole code and produces executable file. Interpreter. It translates one line of code and then executes it before moving on to the next line. Stops when an error is found. When corrected, the program can be run from the same position. Question 331. Describe two differences between compiler and an interpreter. Interpreter. Translate and execute the code line by line. Stop translating and reports an error as it finds one. Does not produces an executable file, will execute the code until it finds an error and allow correction of errors in real time. Compiler. It translates and executes the whole code all in one go, produces an error report at the end of translation, thus produces an executable file, will not execute any code if there are errors present, needs to retranslate the code each time after errors are found and corrected. Assemblers. Question 333. State what is meant by an assembler. A translator that converts assembly language into machine code. Question 334. Describe the purpose of an assembler. It converts assembly language instruction into binary or machine code, allows program written in assembly language to be executed by the CPU. Question 335. State one difference between an assembler and a compiler. An assembler translates assembly language, a compiler translates high-level language. Question 336. A programmer has written a program using assembly language. Identify the translator that is required to convert this program into machine code that the computer can execute. So that is assembler. A software development team is working on a project that involves translating code from one programming language to another. They are already using compilers and interpreters. Identify one other type of translator they might find useful. So that is assembler. Question 338. A programmer can use translators such as interpreters and compilers when developing a computer program. Give one similarity between a compiler and an interpreter. They both translate high-level language into machine code. Number 2, they both check for errors. Number 3, they both report errors. Topic 30, IDE or Integrated Development Environment. Question 340. The programmer uses an Integrated Development Environment IDE when creating the computer program. State what is meant by an IDE. It's a software application that provides tools for writing, testing, and debugging programs. It combines features like a code editor, debugger, and translators in one environment. Question 341. The programmer uses an Integrated Development Environment IDE to create the computer program. One function of IDE is that it has a built-in compiler. Give 3 other common functions of an IDE. Number 1, pretty prints. Number 2, code editors. Number 3, autocorrections. Number 4, auto-completion. Number 5, error diagnostics. Number 6, runtime environment. Number 7, translator, compiler, or interpreter. Question 342. State one benefit of using autocomplete in an IDE. Saves time typing common commands or variable names, reduces typing errors, and helps with correct syntax.